organization come into an existence? What is the utility of a business to be in action? We will discuss about it, and how can you promote or probably initiate your own business? We'll look into some aspect of it. So business management has four sectors. We will call it primary, which relates direct to your customers; secondary, from customers' reference point or people who might add up your take your products, right, and add certain values to your products and goes to the secondary market, which can be again gone to the tertiary, a far further market that we're looking into it, and quaternary when you're going moving to the subset of a global value chain. So you have a primary target, you have a secondary target, you have a tertiary target, and you have a quaternary targets that comes around it, where your business becomes a value added part of a service chain model. So, we will discuss what is exactly needs. Need is something which we have to live. For example, food, water, clothing. Often people say nowadays that mobile is also a part of a need. So, what exactly is want? Want is something which we aspire for, but probably we don't necessarily require. For example, a holiday abroad or expensive jewelry. So, let us come into the balance between need and want, and probably we should limit our wants to minimum or maximum. So, business, again, I reiterate that business exists to satisfy needs and wants of people, organization, more importantly, the governments. So, what is a business? Business is a decision making organization involved in the process of utilizing inputs, transforming them into finished goods and services, or organization in the production of these services. So this needs to be understood time and again. It is the input, and then there's a process that it has to incur upon, undergo to come out as a finished product. So we come to organization. What is organization? It is a combination of people, a number of heads coming together to form in a formally structured fashion to attain a particular goal. It's a collective goals. If we can look into it, which has been written out here, is just the collective goals or the organizational goals. So all organizations have a management structure. So there is a hierarchy that needs to be taken care for. Because if there are no hierarchies, then there is something called anarchy in the organization. Nothing will go as per the intention. So organizations cease to exist. So basically, the members are subdivided, assigned roles, responsibilities, authorities to carry out different tasks. Organization, remember, are open system. They are part of the society. They are not an isolated system, and they do get affected and impacted of whatever environment. We'll talk about the finished good as far as the production is concerned. There are three steps. The first step is the input, wherein we incorporate raw material, component, machinery, equipment, and labor into a certain grinding processes, wherein the inputs of the services and the other raw materials come up to the output, which means the final goods and services. The that comes around it. So basically, four factors of production are required for any goods or any services. They are land, all natural resources provided by nature, and remember these are finite products. There are labor. It's your employee, the effort, the skills of the people. It's the money, the capital, the machinery, the equipment that plays a major role. And comes enterprise, the skill and risk taking ability of a person who brings together the resources to produce a. Now comes the factors of production that we minutely study one by one: the land, the labor, the capital, and the entrepreneurship or the enterprise. Or in short, your business organization. So in the land, remember it's a naturally available for production. Remember that these things can be replenishable and probably renewable. And then there are certain things which are cannot be replenished, and they are very much in finite condition. For example, land. You cannot have an extra land. The amount of land that you are is finite. We have the capital, that is the cognitive effort of the people used in the production, the muscle power of the people used in the production, the capital in terms of after labor would be the capital, all natural manufactured resources that are used in creation for the production of a product. This is very important. Enterprise or entrepreneurship refers to the management of the organization, the planning that it undertakes, and other factors of production into a profitable enterprise. Is what an enterprise is all about. It a pictorial representation of land, labor, capital, and enterprise for as a factors of production. What are the cost? What are the financial implications? For land you have to pay rent, for labor you have to pay wages, for capital you have to pay interest, for enterprise you are looking for profit, and if doesn't comes around it, you are not a profitable organization. And if you are not profitable organization, you will not be able to earn money. If you're not been able to earn money, you will not be able to disburse the salaries, the wages, the cost, the rent, the interest, and slowly and surely the organization will cease to exist. So for land, firm pay needs to pay rent. The landowners might let it out. The business owners would take it on a rent and probably operate their business from that particular premises. Then comes the wages to which the employers have to give to the employees in terms of monetary wages. You need to understand that an employee has something called an opportunity cost. If he or she is not making enough from a particular business, he or she can change the organization, change his modus operandi, change his living ways altogether. Capital interest is something which we pay on the in the on the capital that we take it as a loan. Essentially all businesses are run on a loan because nobody would love to invest their own money and probably go around by it. So we are looking at savings, entrepreneurship profit. Herein the entrepreneur will take a risk. Remember, his risk is directly proportional to the rewards. The greater the risk, the higher the rewards would be. In case it fails, probably the entrepreneurs loses the business altogether. But in all probabilities, if he can put his creative skills to test and expect a normal profit, actually paying the fees, it is the student who is actually studying. So one is the customer, the other one will be the consumer. This is how we go around it. So we'll talk about the types of product. Consumer goods. Now, consumer goods are durable goods, basically sold to the general public. Product that last a long time and can be often used repeatedly. Non-durable goods, product that needs to be consumed shortly after purchase. For example, your vegetables. If shortly after purchase, it has an expiry date. Your pharmaceutical products, it is an expiry date. Everything comes very important. If you don't go, you don't end up making a valuable sense for the customer. The existence of the organization is very much debatable. So what are the value added? It is an enhancement that the company gives its product or services before offering a product to the customer. This needs to be understood. The firm takes on a product that may be considered homogeneous with minor differences here and there from the competitors. The potential customers with the features that it values. The customer needs to value certain things from your products of your company. If the company is not giving something called added value, probably the customer might brand altogether. So note, value is not about profit. A value can either increase the profit product prices of value. For example, offering a year support of free on a new computer could be a value added service. It is after sales service that we go across with it. So, value added can come in forms of what? It can come in forms of response time, the quality of services, prestige associated with the purchase, the feel good factor. The feel good factor is what you have when you own a product. You had take a sense of pride. You have certain branded products and certain non-branded products. Both of the product might be as good and efficient, but the moment you have something called a branded product, you need to flaunt it, and people have that awe feeling about you. It's a feel good factor that the brand brings to you. perceived value of money. It's the value for money. It's amount of money that I'm paying for the amount of products or the amount of services that I get. It should be on a balancing factor. The quality of finished product, brand image, and brand loyalty, taste, design is what value added comes from, and inability to obtain such products cheaper elsewhere. Now, if you can give it at the right price, people are going to lap it up. So that is what is exactly meant by. So profit is all about revenue, the total revenue minus the expenses, the total cost. So inflow of the money usually from the sale of the products or the services. So what is the total cost? The total cost is outflow of the money to finance the production activities. And if the business cost, remember, if the business costs are greater than the revenue, it means loss, absolutely loss, and that is bit debatable and a big question mark comes up to your existence of your company. So, what are the functions of profit? It acts as an incentive to produce, acts a reward for the risk taker, for an entrepreneur. If he or she is taking a risk, should be adequately compensated. It encourages inventions and innovation, acts as an indicator of growth or decline. Remember, as a source of finance, a company must, I repeat, an organization should always make profit so that it sees a longer run of a survival. It sees it is in existence for a number of decades and centuries to go around it. We come to business model. This is the model that I wanted to elaborate to you, all of you. What is a business model? I am sure that many of you who are going through this particular video would love to be an entrepreneur in due courses of time. A business model describes the rationale of how an organization creates. Remember, there are three things you need to create, you need to deliver, and capture value. So, what is create, what is deliver, and what is capture value? First and foremost thing, you should identify a gap which no organization is serving, a gap wherein the customer expectation is very much unfulfilled. So that is what wherein you have to create your service or product, deliver that service or product, and capture value, the imagination of the customer, your end consumer, if you're looking at it. So business model is all about create. Remember, create, deliver, and capture. That is what's going around it. So what do we create? We create products, we create service. If there is a gap, we need to create everything. Now, once the gap has been identified, we create a product or a service to fill the gap. The moment it has been created, we need to implement it to the customer. Let the customer enjoy the experience, enjoy a product, and that is what, if you look into it, the customers are enjoying. If the customer starts availing your products, probably he or she starts purchasing. That means the money is going to come back to you. So that is where the money comes around it. And this thing goes on and on. The business model is very simple for you to understand. The business model is presented in a very lucid fashion so that you can enact upon your dreams. Study the gaps. Please do not initiate a business in which you are good at, the skills which you are good at. You have to identify if that skill is required for the existing market you are addressing. So we'll have a business model for all of you to understand, and easy steps of tool to create and analyze. You can create a model very easily. Believe me, I am going to show you at least 8 9 steps right now to understand how to go about creating your business, wherein you can update your business model. The 9 step that I want to look around is the 9 building blocks that I keep on saying are a must for an organization, for a business to succeed. First, define your market, which customers are and user you are serving or targeting. If you have not initiated the business, what are your end customers? What are the gap that you're looking at it? Which jobs did you really want? See, I'm trying to build a jigsaw puzzle in front of you. First and foremost is the customer. Keep that in mind because they are going to bring in revenues to your the next jigsaw. Remember, the customer is still there. Here, the customer still remains, right? I am now going out. what is the value that you are going out? So have you identified a gap? If yes, what is it? So what are you offering them? How are you going to satisfy the requirement, the needs of the customer? What is that's getting them done for them? Do they actually value it? Do they actually have an opinion towards it? Do they feel that there is something missing in their life or in? Now comes the channel. This is where you need to understand how we can reach the customers. How, if the customer is not feeling a gap, is not known about it, can you create an urgency? Can you create the sense of wanting? Remember, all the needs might have been fulfilled. The customer might not be aware of it. There were days when electricity was not invented, right? But before that, human beings were also existing, and they were very happy with their life. The moment electricity was invented, people had to pay for electricity. But there might have been judgments, why go for electricity? But this requirement was created, sense of want was created. The electricity brought in light, brought in fan, the air conditioner. So things, every change in paradigm, a want has to be created. Electricity was the first invention, and then there was a requirement for it. Similarly, we went for a fan, and now we are going for air conditioned, and so on and so forth. So what are we doing? We are going a climate control weathers building everywhere there. We are creating a sense of want, despite the fact that we have been existing with an AC for last 50 odd years and with a fan for last 100 years. We are doing just fine, appropriately fine. But now we are moving to climate control buildings. Remember, there are swimming pools, and we can enjoy a swimming pool even in the winter areas, because the swimming pool can be temperature control. A warm water can be there in the swimming pool. This is where we want to describe. So there was a gap. Everybody wants to do a swimming, but in a winter weather, nobody wants to venture into a pool because the water was cold. So we have decided to create and bridge that gap. What the channel is all about it. Now form the customer relationship, give them discount, make them try out your product, get it done by personal means, by automated means, by acquisitive means, by retentive means. Wherever you woo the customers, remember, as a business you are wooing the customers, and I am trying to build a jigsaw puzzle you to go around it. So what, now you will come to know that customers are happy with your product, or probably are willing to try your product. So what you're going to do now, you have to monetize the product. So what the customers are really paying for, willing to pay for, you cannot have an ad hoc pricing. You cannot have a exaggerated pricing. So how are you going to have a general recurring revenues on a loyalty basis, on a retainership basis, or a transactional basis, one time revenue that you need to go around it? If it is on a retainer basis, you need to have a recurring revenue models on a monthly basis, weekly basis, and so forth. Then comes the key resource plan. What are the resources that you're looking at? Can you have the backup plan? Can you build an organization according to it? Your resources needs to underpin your business model. You have to determine your asset. Is it to be asset light or asset heavy? How you're going to approach the business altogether? Which activities do you know is to be very well done by you as a core activities, and which activities you can hive off, give it to your vendor, give it to your supply chain. These are needs to be taken for. This supply chain will be your key partners. These supply chain, these vendors will come with you because they are also going to make money out of you, right? And you are basically deserving, have already identified the gaps, and have processed a successful business model. Then comes the cost structure. Now remember that this last segment is all about the cost. This segment is all about the cost that we are looking into it. We have vendors, we have business partners, we have assets, we have core processes. So what is the resulting cost structure? What key elements drive your cost? You have to answer this query, and we come to it. What I have basically given you a partner network, a key activities, the offer, the relationships, the customer segment, the distribution channel, the revenue streams, and the cost structure. With this, I come to a complete completion of this particular presentation, the business model is all about your customer relationship and distribution channel. But did I begin with it? First, I began with segmenting the customers. Remember, the first story was segmenting the customers, and the second story was designing a product. So this was one, right? And this was two. Probably then we started with the distribution channel. How do we reach the customers? Three. Then the customer relationships, then probably the key resources that we went around it, the key activities that we would like to retain on our basis, exclusive basis, the vendors that we go around it, and the cost structures and the revenue stream. Remember in my presentation, if the revenue is more than the cost structure, we are making profit. But in case cost is more than the revenue, it is a loss making proposition. We need to skew things so that the revenue we becomes profitable. The business model you people are deciding upon yourself, you have to guess. This is not my issue. I have given you an ample amount of arms and ammunition for your cognitive abilities to think it out. What businesses are you going to be in? What will be your key resources, channel, customer segmentation, cost structures, and revenue? If you are clear with it, please go ahead. A business management would be a complete success. Thank you for watching this wonderful video. Thank you very much.